Thank you for your interest in submitting an abstract to the UNC Water and Health Conference. This video is the second video in a short tutorial series about how to prepare an abstract for the conference. This video will cover how abstracts are reviewed and scored and provide tips for how to improve your score. If you have not already watched the first video that goes over how to structure your abstract and what information to include, I recommend watching that video as well. When abstracts are submitted, they are all reviewed and scored by two separate peer reviewers using a double-blind peer review process, and the peer reviewers that are selected for your abstract are related to the specific topic of your abstract. The abstracts are scored independently by each of these two reviewers based on 4 criteria that carry equal weight. These criteria are the originality or innovation of your work, the relevance and broad appeal, the clarity of the abstract, and the validity of the methods used. The first criteria is the originality or innovation of the work. This refers to how your research is novel, what knowledge gap it is filling, and what is new or innovative about it. You can make this point briefly in your background section, but on the abstract submission form, there is a separate section with the question of what is new or novel about your work. I recommend that you take advantage of this section on the abstract submission form to clearly communicate what is new and novel about your work to abstract reviewers, so there's no question that your research meets this criteria. The second criteria is the relevance and broad appeal of your research. This refers to whether your research has implications and relevance to current issues, and if the work has substantial interest across researchers, practitioners, and policymakers, all of who attend the UNC Water and Health Conference. Research that is new or related to current issues is more likely to be accepted than research that is outdated. And research that has a broader appeal is also of more interest to a wider amount of attendees at the conference, and so therefore also more likely to be accepted. You can make these links within your background or conclusion section in a brief 1 or 2 sentences, and I recommend that you see past abstracts for examples of how to do this. But again, please don't copy any text from these abstracts directly and put things into your own words. The third criteria the abstracts are evaluated on is the clarity of the abstract. This means that the abstracts must be clear and well organized, and that all necessary sections are included, and you can refer to the first video for more information about these sections. It's also important that technical terms and acronyms are clearly defined throughout the abstract. I recommend that you have co-authors or friends read your abstract before submitting it to make sure it is clear and easy to follow. Co-authors can help make sure you're pulling out the best main conclusions to highlight in the abstract, and that the results that you're highlighting directly inform those conclusions. And your friends can help make sure that the abstract is clear to someone outside of the research project. The last criteria is the validity, and this refers to evaluating if the research uses valid and reliable methods and includes outcome measures that are clearly defined. Make sure that you include sufficient information in your methods and results section for reviewers to be able to judge that you are using valid and reliable methods and outcome measures. And one of the most common reasons abstracts are rejected is because there's not enough information to judge the validity of the methods. So it's really important that you include sufficient detail here. Now I just want to give a brief example of a few comments from reviewers on accepted abstracts versus rejected abstracts, so you can see how it's directly linked to these criteria that I just discussed. Among accepted abstracts, it's common for reviewers to comment that the topic might be of broad interest to the field. Maybe the study presents a large data set and is analyzed in a way that directly informs conclusions. The work may also be highly novel, relevant, or have broad appeal, or have clear data presentation with policy relevant outcomes. Among rejected abstracts, there's usually a lack of information that's necessary to adequately evaluate the work that's being done. For example, the abstract may have interesting and broad appeal to a broad audience, but no data is presented, which makes it challenging to assess the validity of the methods and the results. Alternatively, it could also be mostly program background, but does not indicate what's actually being done by authors, and no data is shown. It also might provide no details on how a scheme is implemented. So no information on how participants were surveyed, who was targeted, or who the program is reaching. So I will emphasize again that it's important to make sure you provide those specific details in your methods and results section to improve the scoring of your abstract and improve your chances of being accepted. I again just want to point out briefly some additional abstract resources. So please visit the conference website for guidance on specific abstract requirements, and you can also see a copy of the reviewer criteria there so that you can review this before preparing your abstract. You can also read through past abstracts, but again, please don't copy any text from these abstracts and make sure your abstracts are in your own words. And you can also watch for an announcement of drop-in workshops where you can ask your questions live to us in a workshop form. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing your abstracts.